Whatever camera system you are invested in, whether it's Nikon, Canon, Sony, or Fuji, they all make great lenses. So how do you know which lens to choose for food photography? To be able to choose the lens you want, you need to understand focal length, what it is and how it affects your photos. Today we'll look at the differences in focal lengths and how each focal length changes the look of the photo. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and here we talk about food photography. If that's something that you're interested in, I'd urge you to subscribe and follow along for more videos. Hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever new videos come out. And before you go, if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up on your way out. Lenses are a very personal choice for most photographers. Which lenses you use will help you develop your own personal style and workflow. If you ask any photographer what their favorite lens is, they'll be able to give you a definitive answer and a host of reasons why. I have a favorite lens and I've spoken about it on this channel many times, though there's some times when in some situations I need to use a different lens based on the circumstances. In addition to focal lengths, we'll be discussing the three types of lenses we can use in food photography. Prime lenses, which are a fixed focal length, zoom lenses, which have a range of focal lengths, such as this 24 to 70, and macro lenses, which are available in several prime focal lengths that allow you to get up close to your subject and make those tiny items really big in your photos. So one last thing to keep in mind before we begin talking about lenses is crop factor. Each of the focal lengths of a lens is assuming you're using that lens on a full frame camera, giving you the full range of that lens. If you're using an APS-C sensor, which is smaller than a full frame sensor, and depending on which camera brand you'll use, you have to deal with crop factor. For Nikon, this crop factor sits at 1.5. So that means for a 50mm lens, it will actually perform like a 75mm lens. To figure this out on your own, find the crop factor of your specific camera brand and multiply that by the focal length of your lens. So for example, Nikon's 50mm lens times 1.5 crop factor equals 75mm. Doesn't mean you can't get beautiful photos with an APS-C camera, but something to keep in mind when you're choosing a lens and deciding on focal lengths. So first up are the prime wide-angle lenses. These lenses have a short focal length of anywhere from 11mm up to 35mm. These focal lengths are popular for landscape photography and architectural photography as they can capture a lot of info in a scene. I'm filming this video right now at 20mm and you can see just how wide the shot it can get. It captures a lot of information. But they're not very popular among food photographers as they can add distortion to an image. It can make scenes look a little bit wonky. Some of this can be corrected in editing, but will always be noticeable to the viewer and not always in a good way. Another drawback to uses of wide-angle lens is the depth of field. Typically, wide-angle lenses don't offer a lot of bokeh, which is that soft kind of out-of-focus area in a photo that gives food photography its ethereal look. So if that's the look you're going for, wide-angle lenses may not be your best choice. Next up are the normal or the mid-range focal lengths that go from 35mm all the way up to 85mm. A 50mm lens is generally the most popular in this focal range as it's a long enough focal length to provide a soft out-of-focus area, yet fairly close to the focal length of the human eye, which sits around the equivalent of about a 43mm lens. There's a whole lot more that goes into how an eye works optically, but 43mm is a rough general consensus. This means the 50mm lens, the scene looks relatively natural to the viewer. At 35mm, the scene will also look just as natural, but it will have less of that depth of field than the 50mm will. The other reason these mid-range lenses are so popular is they're generally priced affordably and offer superior sharpness. If I didn't have a lens yet and I want to start taking pictures of food, this is the focal range I would start with. Telephoto lenses start at about 90mm and can go all the way up to 300. Generally, anything more than that is considered a super telephoto. These lenses offer a beautiful out-of-focus area and are usually extremely sharp and offer something the other lenses don't offer, and that's lens compression. So longer focal lengths create this optical effect where the background appears to be closer or larger than it actually is. This perspective distortion results when you're using a longer focal length. You're generally set up much farther away from your subject because of the length of the lens to get everything in the frame. Another item to keep in mind is if you're working in a very small space, a telephoto lens may not be a good option for you as you have to have a large area to be able to set up properly. You will find many photographers, myself included, who prefer to use these longer focal lengths for the compression mainly. I shoot 90% of all my photos at 105mm, but I know some successful photographers who prefer to shoot at 200mm. This range in focal lengths also starts to become more expensive, unfortunately, than the mid-range, but the quality is just phenomenal. So all the lenses we've spoken about so far have been prime lenses, which are, for a long time have been considered optically superior to zoom lenses. These days, though, with the advancements in manufacturing and design and the ability of many camera processors to do a lot of corrections in camera, this isn't quite the case anymore. Are primes better lenses than zooms? In my opinion, yes, but only slightly. Not enough to keep me from, buying zoom lenses myself. Zoom lenses are phenomenal because they have a wide range of options if that's the direction you want to go. Their wide range of focal lengths offer a lot of flexibility. In some instances, you're able to cover all three prime categories from wide to telephoto with a lens like a 24 to 200 millimeters. The two most popular zooms that I have found for food photographers, though, are the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200. I own a 24 to 70 and use it whenever I'm doing a flat lay, mainly because I like the flexibility of being able to zoom in and out when I'm set up above the camera to be able to frame my photo properly without having to put it on the floor. I found the 24 to 70 is a great all-around focal range for food photography. The only real drawback to zoom lenses is when it comes to price, especially when you're looking at a fixed aperture lens. So they can be much more expensive than prime lenses for the most part, although it's not a hard and fast rule, and you can find some deals on some affordable zooms. So last up are the macro lenses, and these are big beefy lenses. They're prime lenses that are available in many focal lengths from 40 millimeters all the way to 150. A true macro lens will allow you a 1-to-1 reproduction rate, which means when your camera is as close to it as you can get to a subject and achieve focus, your subject will be the same size in the sensor as it is in real life. So this is how photographers are able to capture really close-up shots of berries and herbs and things that are very small and allow you to do some really artsy and interesting photos. The beauty of the macro lens is that it's only a feature you need to worry about when you want to do macro photography. Otherwise, it performs like a normal lens. So if you're just getting started with food photography or you're trying to figure out what lens to invest in next, I hope this helped you, and I hope to answer some questions about focal lengths and lenses in food photography. As always, thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video and you got something out of it, I appreciate you hitting the like button before you go. It really does help the channel. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.